Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you let the listeners know who you are?
Yes, of course. I'm DJ Cuppy.
Okay.
So I'm a DJ by night and a student by day, and also a very, very proud Nigerian.
Student by day. Well, what are you studying?
So at the moment, I'm attaining a master's at New York University in music business, and this is my second degree. I actually previously last year I got a bachelor's degree in economics business at King's College London.
Okay. Bachelor's degree in business
economics, yes.
From business economics to music management.
Yes.
There's no correlation. Why that jump?
You know, it's interesting you said that there's no correlation. I think a lot of people don't understand the commercial opportunities that are in the music business.
Okay.
I think when you look outside Nigeria and you look at the music industry as a global operation, you see that actually there's a lot of opportunities, and there's a lot of music media, especially with online and streaming. There's some big things going on in the music industry. So I think that learning that model and learning that way of activities and the opportunities I can essentially take advantage of in New York and bringing them here is always a plan.
Fantastic. DJ Cuppy, first things first. Why is a young lady like you a DJ?
Why? I mean, you know, I'm a passionate person and I think I always follow my heart. So I think, yes, it's definitely not a predictable route, or it's not a typical approach, I guess, when it comes to careers for any young African lady. But I think that I've always loved music, and I've always also valued the importance of education. Okay. So I made sure that I was following my dream and my passion, but making sure I was educating myself and I was well informed. So the way I've ended up being a DJ has been a journey, an interesting journey from a young age, listening to music in the car with my dad, to falling in love with the culture of music, and, you know, living in London for many years. When I left Lagos, I was born in Lagos, and I mean, this is such a commercial, amazingly cultural city. There's sights and sounds everywhere you look. So I was raised to be to express myself, and music happens to be the way I've decided to.
If you don't mind me asking, DJ Cuppy.
Sounds like it's a tough question already.
Why this profession, or is it just a hobby?
I think, you know, I think that my passion and my approach to my DJ Cuppy brand answers that question. I take my job very seriously. I view myself as a professional and someone that has and is gaining even more expertise. And, you know, if you look at my clients and the engagements I've had, I mean, I think being the official DJ at the MTV Awards, or DJing for the presidential inauguration, or for the Financial Times, puts my so-called DJ activity or hobby at a very serious level of profession.
That's good. And since obviously, as you said, it's a profession, have you attended courses, conferences on DJing and all?
You know, for me, I think it's so important to educate yourself in your field. So as well as obviously, naturally, I believe practice makes perfect, putting in a lot of work and research into what I do. I've also taken a course, so I am actually an advanced level certified DJ at the Point Blank School in London, which is a music school. And this is a very, very long 3-month course that I undertook. Last year.
Rigorous.
Yes, in the sense that you're tested and you're you know, it's amazing because you're around other people, other aspiring DJs from around the world. So I'm so excited as well, because I came second in my class. I mean, not first. I might have to go back and make sure I'm first. But I think that, you know, if I look at what I gained from it, and, you know, having that sort of having the actual qualification definitely adds value.
That's good. From your own perspective, since you're a professional DJ, what do you think makes a good song?
Wow, you know, no one has ever asked me that before. People normally ask me, oh, you know, what makes a good DJ set, or how do you pick your music? But for me, I mean, I think it's
what makes
a good song.
A good song for a DJ
to play.
To spin
Exactly.
It, to play it, yeah.
I think a song that's not predictable. You know, for me, my best and most exciting sets are when I throw the crowd off, when I give them a musical experience that is not something that they're used to. Okay. So that involves me doing a lot of throwback songs or playing songs that people don't expect. And songs that people don't expect are songs that are not that stand out next to each other. So my job is to mix music. Yes, I'm supposed to do it seamlessly, but it's always nice to have a song that stands out. So for me, a good song is a song that challenges people to listen to it, to understand it.
Funny enough, I don't know if you are reading my mind, but how do you figure out what the audience would love to listen to or would love to dance to? How do you figure out?
That's always a tough one. You know, my job is actually to make sure the dance floor is not empty.
Okay.
So yes, I have to make sure that I'm playing what people want to hear. And it's a battle between playing, sometimes, you know, for example, at a wedding, I might be dealing with 16 to 60-year-olds.
Okay.
So it's a very, very varied crowd. So the way I do it is that I have to read crowd reactions. So as I play a song, I see how it's received, and then I react based on that. Many times, you know, I can prepare, and I think preparation as well. Preparation meets opportunity. So I make sure that I do my research beforehand. So I was DJing in Dubai in March. I DJed for the Oil Barons Charity Ball.
Okay.
Which was a very big show, and I did a lot of research, and I was playing Arabic music. I had no idea what it meant, but I was catering to my demographic. So I think that it's a fine balance between playing what I like and making sure that I'm catering to the different people in the crowd.
So you're telling me you do a bit of research before you play a certain...
Most definitely.
Really?
I have to, you know, because it's up to me to ensure that I'm well informed. And for example, I did the Financial Times Summit last year in Mexico City. And of course, we were in Mexico, so I made sure I did my research and I played a lot of Latino music. And these are the things that make my clients happy.
Fantastic. Coming back to your career, did your parents take a liking to the fact that you wanted to be a DJ? Or you had issues?
I have such supportive parents.
Okay.
You know, when I told my dad, he said I should go for it, but he said that I have to be the best. So I think that it's important to know my parents are supportive, but they're also my biggest critics.
Oh, really?
And they push me to be a bigger, better version of myself. So based on that, I believe that I have to always sort of challenge myself. So they're very supportive, and of course, you know, it's not like they said, oh, you have to go to school. I'm so passionate about education. I think knowledge is power, and I think as any young woman in the Nigeria, just, you know, generally, I think in our continent, as a young African woman, it's so important for us to make sure that we're ambitious and we're pushing the envelope every time. And education and exposure has to do with that. So, you know, passionate about school. My parents were very happy that I was able to get my first degree, hopefully my second, maybe a third. You know, there's prospects for a PhD in musicology. I know, and I haven't really spoken about it, but it's something that's on my mind. Because a year from now, I'm in my final year of my master's, so perhaps, because I love learning. I'm like a sponge, and I think that open-minded mentality helps me be a good DJ, and that's why I can blend into different environments, because I'm able to be open-minded enough to listen to new sounds and get inspiration.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
How far has this profession of yours taken you? How far?
When you say how far, how do you
countries, continents?
Oh, so travel.
New Zealand.
Yeah,
how
travel.
Far has it taken you?
Wow.
Has it broadened your scope or
you
your
know,
perspective?
I think travel for me is really travel. I believe it enriches the mind. I have to say, as an individual, and you know, I mean, being a 22-year-old as well, I'm still figuring out things. You sort of, you're learning to become yourself. So I think for me, travel has helped me become self-confident and has helped me know myself, because I've put myself in different scenarios, different surroundings, different environments. So I've been able to be true to myself. I mean, I've traveled the world. Like I said, I've been able to go to Mexico. I live in New York now, so in the US, I find myself in Los Angeles, in Miami, in Chicago. In terms of Africa, I am so excited that I'll be going on tour this summer.
Okay, really?
I'll be going on tour, and we're doing a tour called Cuppy Takes Africa. Okay. I have a fantastic team, and a lot of amazing partnerships embedded in that. We'll be starting in Nigeria, and we'll be going to Senegal, we'll be going to Ghana, we'll be going to Cameroon, we'll be going to Kenya, we'll be going to Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, and South Africa. So we're about to knock off 10 African countries in 1 month.
And what month is that? August?
August.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Your highs and lows during your profession.
Sorry?
Your highs and lows. Positives and negatives.
Yes. Okay, so a high for me would have to be, I'm a people's person. I love meeting new people. I love learning about people. I love being inspired by other people. So I get to meet amazing people like yourself on a day-to-day basis because of the kind of job I am in, which is exciting because I think that, just simple conversations can be learning experiences. And I love hearing about people's story, and I love telling my story. The low side, I think, would be, I think I'm very, very hard on myself. And I think that the low would be maybe criticism. I think that I take it on board, which is important because it makes you a better person. But I sort of, I think it's a journey, and I think as the brand grows, you have different levels of expectation. So I'll have a show where some of my amazing supporters that I call cupcakes will be like, oh my gosh, amazing show. And, maybe out of 100, one person didn't enjoy that experience, and I take it to heart. And I think maybe it's something that I need to learn to work on. But I think I'm very hard on myself, and I aim for perfection every single time.
Speaking about criticisms, which you talked about, some of your criticisms, do you think they stem from the fact that your dad is an oil magnate?
That's a very interesting, I think, observation. And I wouldn't say. How do you take it? I wouldn't say in general that is why I'm criticized. Okay. But I believe that in the past there have been scenarios whereby certain people maybe have something against him or so, and perhaps those feelings are directed towards me. That is not always the case, but it's happened. And I think it's so important to note that I have a great father, and he's just such an inspiration to me, and I care about him very much, but we are not the same person. Yes. And he will say the same thing about me, and we support each other. And he will say, he tells me I inspire him, and obviously vice versa. But we have different journeys, and we both respect each other. So in that fact, one must note that we are not the same person. And it's so important to also acknowledge the fact that, we have a father-daughter relationship, and family is family. And, at the end of the day, he is my father. But I think that people very easily get distracted, and that is very frustrating for me sometimes. But I always say, the music should speak for itself.
Brilliant. Well said. What keeps you going?
I have different things that keep me going, and I think that it's changing. I think that, I'm very passionate about what I do, but like I said, I'm studying music business. I see opportunities, and I see niche markets that need to be explored, and I see the inspiration behind this tour is really taking a sound, taking an experience, we can call it, and sharing it with as many people as I can around the continent. And I keep talking about Africa because I'm just such a strong believer in Africa as a whole. I feel like it's fantastic that a lot of people look at us Nigerians and we set the pace. We're the biggest economy, and also when we look at our entertainment and our content, we are definitely the biggest providers there. But I feel like we could be so much stronger if we all get together as a continent. So, you know, for me, it's very, very important that I look to be an advocate for Africa.
Couple of questions, two more questions, 2 or 3. DJ Cuppy is a tourism ambassador. How did that come about?
You know, it's very interesting. So being a tourism ambassador, being a brand advocate for the Fascinating Nigeria campaign, you know, it came about last year, into 2014. And I released a song called I Love My Country, which was last year. And at the time, there were preparations for the centenary celebrations. And, you know, the Ministry of Culture was preparing for this big campaign, which went very, very well. And they needed a song, and I had remixed a version of Tunji Orelano's I Love My Country. So, you know, they contacted me to have that as a song, as the official theme song. And, you know, further sort of having talks, you know, the current minister at the time, Duke Adam, he was very, very excited about my passion for the youth of Nigeria, and, you know, having a generation, you know, I always say to people, there's a new generation coming up. There always is, but I feel like a lot of people feel in the air there's change in Nigeria, and I think that there's a fantastic, smart, bright, innovative, ambitious lot of young people ready to take leadership. And I was explaining this to him, and he was so excited and fascinated by it. And he said, you must join our campaign. So, you know, it's absolutely fantastic to be part of that. And, you know, I was able to represent the ministry at the Financial Times Summit, which was fantastic. And, you know, I'm looking forward to hopefully more engagements. And hopefully, you know, with a new government in place, hopefully there'll be more activity and more ways to further put emphasis on Nigeria being a tourism destination.
Good. Final question. What's the title of the current book you're reading?
Honestly, the current book I'm reading is The Secret, which is...
Really? The Secret?
It's in my bedside. And I've read that book about 4 times. I read it sort of once every year or twice every year.
Well, why do you go back to the book?
Do you know the book I'm talking about?
I do,
yes.
Yeah.
Why did I go back to that book? It's interesting. So when I probably first read that book when I was about 16. I mean, I read a lot of books when I was younger, books that I probably shouldn't have read. I read a lot of biographies, books about power, you know, and I would sort of go through my dad's library and pick out books. Particularly, actually, one book that inspired me. I guess, what if someone asks me who is somebody that has sort of inspired me and changed my life. Me and my dad have the same role model, who is Aristotle Onassis. And I read his biography when I was very young, and I was so infatuated by him. And in that book, there was reference to The Secret. So I read that book, didn't understand it. And I find the more I read, the more I understand it. And I'm a firm believer in you know, in destiny, you know. And me and my dad sound very alike in this sense. I feel like certain people are destined for greatness. And I can only hope that I'm one of them.
Thanks, DJ Cuppy.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.